Okay, I'm speaking from downtown Pleasantville, and I'm preparing for my trip in just a few short days to go to Heathrow in London to visit one of my closest friends for so many years, my best friend, Jonty Gaines. His name is Jonathan, just like mine, although I go by John, he goes by Jonty. We met in the summer of 1986, the only year, as Chad knows, that the Mets won the World Series. It's the only championship that any of my teams had ever won. So it was very fitting to meet Jonty during that summer. We were working in Tyler Hill Camp at the time, both in the kitchens. I was a waiter. He was the kitchen staff. And all the Englishmen were so shy, except for Jonty. He was by far the loudest one, the most memorable one, and that summer he would constantly be screaming "Bruno" in honor of Frank Bruno, the hopeful champ from England, boxing champ, which never did end up happening. So Jonty has come to see me for many years, and I'd like to add, within 3 years he became the first ever breakfast chef. He ended up having his own room at the camp with his own cleaning service. So that's the type of person Jonty is. Between his humor, his talent, and how he deals with people led to that. We were always united through boxing, sports, playing sports, a great tennis rivalry. And I'm about to go to England, and I thought, what am I going to do to bring a gift? It's been 21 years since I was there, and Jonty's always brought me such great gifts when he stayed with us here. So what was I going to do? And this idea was hatched right after we lost the softball championship. That night I was with my buddy Rob Slocum, who you'll meet shortly, and I knew what Rob did for a living, and I thought he could maybe help us out. So without further ado, this is what I'm going to bring to England. It's an authentic Tony Romo jersey. And it reads, "Dear Jonty, dear Magic Jonty and Danny," and this is written by Tony Romo. "Best wishes to my two best friends in the UK, Tony Romo," an authentic Dallas Cowboy jersey. So now I'm going to start talking with my buddy Rob Slocum, because this is the man that made this happen. He's one of my best friends in town, along with Chad. We play on the same softball team, and Chad introduced me to Rob. And without further ado, Rob, why don't you tell me a little bit, and Rob himself, by the way, was a star linebacker at Greenwich High School, a huge high school in Connecticut, so he knows from sports. Rob, tell me a little bit about what you do professionally and how you made this happen.
Johnny, I'm glad that John left out the fact that we were not very good softball players in our older age here. So I work for a company called CAA, which is Creative Artists Agency. We're known for representing talent, people like Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, George Clooney. We started a sports group about 7 years ago to represent people like Cristiano Ronaldo, Jose Mourinho, who you know. And then one of our first big football guys was we signed Tony Romo. So, when John and I were talking after the game, he asked if we could make this happen. And we called Tony up. I'm a Giants fan, must admit. We called Tony up, and he was more than happy to do this. So he actually signed it before this weekend's game, where the Cowboys did pretty well. So signed it himself and got it back to us right away, and enjoy it.
Yeah, it was great, and today is September 24th, 2013. For perspective, the Cowboys are 2-1. Romo just threw 3 touchdowns. The autograph and that signing took place after week 2, a 17-16 loss to the Chiefs, but Romo had his best game, throwing for 298 yards and a touchdown with no interceptions. He's off to his best start ever, so I think him signing this for Jonty and Danny, his son. And I'm also very excited to see Catherine and Laura as well, and I think it's going to be good luck for him as well, and the Cowboys. And just one last thing, on a funny note, Rob, you'll enjoy the story as you understand a little bit about Jonty. Jonty and I were at a Jets training camp. It must have been about 1996. This is Jonty the Practical Joker. This is just the funniest story. I never laughed so hard in my life. There was a African American guy, maybe about 50 years old, probably 20 years before and about 40 pounds before, who probably was a really good football player, but he had a real professional looking jersey on. And, you know, it said Harris 52, you know? And Jaunty obviously knew he wasn't a player, but he comes up to him and says, "Hi, Mr. Harris. I'm Jaunty Gaines from England, and I'd like to have your autograph." And then the guy was so taken aback. He was like, "Oh, no, I'm not a player. I'm just here as a fan." And then later, somebody said, "Oh, you probably made that guy's year, if not his life." So that was a great story about Jaunty, and I think I've covered everything that I want. I just want to thank Rob. I want to thank Chad Kraus, Jaunty, who you met during your last visit here. When we went out that night, he's doing the video work. Another good friend, and I think that covers it. I just can't wait for the trip and to present this to Jaunty and his family.
Bye.
See you later.
Bye-bye.